Yo, what's going on, guys? GPU mining is a little bit in the gutter right now, but in my effort to get as many mining guides out as possible for as many different coins as possible in case things do turn around, I have another one for you today, guys, and it's for Zano. So looking at Zano right now, Zano is actually a much bigger coin than I realized, and to be honest, I haven't mined this coin at all in the past year, but I'm kind of wishing I did when I see its kind of performance compared to other coins. Now, there's one big downside to mining Zano, and we're going to talk about that shortly. But taking a quick look at it, Zano is a top 500 coin, which is kind of crazy. And the year time frame, it had a big peak all the way up to about $17 and is now sitting at about 541. But in comparison to some other coins, that's actually not that bad. So it's only about as bad as it was like in October of 2024. Whereas if we look at a coin like Zealous, it's going to be a lot more grim than that. So if we look at October 2024, which would be like right here, it's down at 358, and Zealous is about half the price of that. So look at this chart compared to Zano's chart. One of them looks a lot healthier, and I'll let you guys decide which one, but to me, Zano chart looks much healthier. So today we're going to figure out how to mine this. We're going to be using Hiveos. Obviously, I don't really recommend mining on Windows. So we're going to set up my coin generator rig here. It is a bunch of 3070s and two 3060 Ti's. This is a 12 card rig. Now, in terms of profitability, like I mentioned, GPU mining is kind of hurting right now. So here is the list for a 3070 GPU. The best coin would be Vertcoin, but you're still losing 8 cents a day. Zano is down a little bit where it says we're losing about 15 cents per day per card. But sometimes these overclocks are incorrect in hash rate NO, and sometimes we can dial it in a little better. So we are going to see if we can beat the hash rate NO numbers and see if we can get a little more profitable than that. Now, the big downside to mining Zano I mentioned earlier is it is on the ProgPow algorithm. So it is a power hungry beast. It is 150 watts per card. Now, we'll probably be slightly below that, but the big thing there is that you need to make sure you spec your rigs properly so that you can pull 150 watts a card and you're not going to burn out either your power supplies, or if you're using splitter cables, you're not going to burn those out or anything like that. Luckily, my rigs are spec'd to run about 200 watts a card, so I am totally fine with running Zano. We're going to be mining this onto Hero Miners today. They did just release a new Zano pool, and they are the sponsor of this video, so we're going to be using them. Even though they are the sponsor, they are generally one of the lowest ping pools for my area and honestly most of the US, so it's not a bad choice at all. Zano is just like any other coin. To mine it, you need a pool, a wallet, and then overclock settings to make sure you're mining it efficiently and not going to damage your cards. Now for the pool, I already mentioned we're going to be using Hero Miners. For the wallet, I generally don't go through the trouble to set up a wallet unless I've mined a decent amount of a coin. And what I do instead of that is I just mine to TradeOgre exchange, which is incredibly easy. You just go to the exchange, go to deposit, type in Zano, and then you're going to get your Zano address right here. Now, a lot of people will say don't mine to an exchange, but I've found as long as you're only getting like one payout at most a day, you're not going to run into issues. And this prevents you from having to set up like 100 wallets for a bunch of coins that you might have like 50 cents of all these different coins. For me personally, I'll keep basically less than $50 per coin in TradeOgre, and if I get more than that is when I will actually set up a wallet and transfer my coins into there. And I find that just works best for me. It saves time on setting up wallets, and I only really have wallets for coins that I'm really going to stick to. It also helps when tax season comes around. The majority of my transactions are just in TradeOgre. So some people may disagree, but not me. I think that works best for me. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy my TradeOgre address, and then we're going to go into Hiveos and go into wallets here and hit add wallet. And we're going to paste our wallet address there. We're going to type in Zano as our coin, and then the wallet name. We want to name this just Zano TradeOgre, and then we'll save as a global wallet and hit create. So that's done. Now we need to create a flight sheet, which is basically going to tell our mining rig which pool to mine to and then which wallet for that pool to send the coins to, essentially. So we'll go to flight sheets, add a new flight sheet. We'll add Zano here. Our wallet, we want to do Zano TradeOgre, and it looks like I've already added this at some point. Don't remember doing that. And then for the pool, we want to do configure in miner because Hero Miners is not listed here. And then my favorite miner here is Regal Miner. This is almost always the best for NVIDIA cards. So since we had to configure our pool in the miner, we need to go into this setup miner config right here. And from here, we need to add our wallet like this. It's just going to pull our wallet information from that wallet we just made. Worker name, we want to do that as well. And then for the pool URL, this is where we need to actually navigate to Hero Miners, to their zano.herominers.com. I will have this link down below. And you need to select which pool or which region is closest to you. So for me, I'm going to be using the North American East. So I'll copy that right there and put that into the pool URL right here. And then that should be it. Let's go ahead and hit apply changes here. And we'll name this flight sheet. So this is Zano Trade Ogre. And then we will do create flight sheet. So now we have it created. We can go back to our workers here in the coin generator. And you can see we are currently mining Ergo. So we're going to be switching this up to mine Zano. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to miner actions and actually stop the miner. That's going to stop the current Ergo miner. And as we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and set our overclocks for ProgPow. Since ProgPow is a different algorithm than Ergo, we're going to have to switch these. And based on my Quay video, which is also ProgPow, I know that I'm going to want to set this to 200. And then for the memory clock offset, I'm going to set that to 1200. Now, depending on your cards in the Silicon Lottery and how good your GPUs are, you can go anywhere up to all the way to 2000 on this. But if your rigs crash, that means you went too high and you probably need to reduce your overclocks to get a stable rig. So I value stability over squeezing out that little bit of efficiency. So I am going to leave this at 1200 here. And then I always like to put a power limit in there just in case the overclocks don't set or something. We're not going to fry any GPUs. From there, let's go ahead and hit save. And then now that our overclocks are applied, we've stopped the latest miner. It is a good time to go into flight sheets here and hit apply. So let's see if this works properly. Now, while we wait for this to start up, you can go into this flight sheet tab and copy your Ergo and copy your Zano address here. And this is what we're going to use on the actual Hero Miners dashboard to view our statistics and profitability and all that. So if I go into right here, paste in our Zano address and hit lookup, you can see these are our stats. We already do have a share submitted less than a minute ago, so that already kind of proves that it's already working. That was pretty quick. But we still need to wait and see and make sure our overclocks are good and no cards crashed or anything like that. So let's take a quick look here. It looks like everything is up and running. We're getting this little error right here. ProgPow minimum hash rate is not set. We will set that shortly and I'll explain what that is. But let's refresh this a few times. Looks like we're sitting at about 228 mega hash per card. Now I know if you go higher on your memory offset, you can probably get these closer to 30. But like I mentioned, I value stability of my rig. Less crashes than I do squeezing out just that little bit of extra mega hash. So that error that had popped up there, no minimum hash rate set, that is from my hash rate watchdog here. And you can see there's a little red box. What this means, or what the hash rate watchdog does, and if you don't know what I'm even talking about here, check out this video that shows the best Hiveos settings. But in general, the hash rate watchdog is going to be if my entire rig is pulling 336 mega hash and one of my cards crashes, then I'm going to drop 28 mega hash. I'm going to be down around 310 mega hash. So what I can do is I can actually set this hash rate watchdog that if ProgPow drops below, let's say 315 mega hash, that it's going to just restart my rig. And what that does is it can basically save my rig from, if a card crashes, it could be offline for days before I even realize it. Well, the watchdog is going to notice it immediately and go ahead and restart my rig for me, which is awesome because it basically is going to make sure I'm having the optimal hash rate all the time. And if I'm not, then it's going to restart for me. So whenever you switch to a different algorithm, you want to go ahead and set that. You can see I've got this set for Aleo, Zealous, and some other ones as well. So let's refresh this again. Looks like we are doing okay here. We're pulling about 2,000 watts. So like I said, guys, definitely a lot higher power here. And we can see 336 mega hash. So let's copy that over to Hero Miners and see what our profitability is going to be like. One of the good features about Hero miners is that they have this estimate mining profits calculator right here where you can put in your actual thing and it's going to tell you your profitability. But for some reason, this doesn't appear to actually be accurate right now. It's showing as 0 USD, which is certainly not right. So that is something I may contact Hero miners about because that is certainly not correct. If we go to hashrate NO and we do if we do calculator here and we go to Zano, this is another way to check your potential profitability. We can put 360 in here, 2,000 watts, and calculate. And that we can see that we're going to be making about $2.24. But I put 200 watts instead of 2,000. Let's check that again. We're going to be losing about $2.50 per day, but we are generating $2.77. So this calculator on Hero Miners is not correct right now. But don't worry, we are still generating some Zano. I'm probably not going to stick on this for right now. I'll probably go back to Ergo only because it's a lower power coin. But keep in mind, you can also mess with your overclocks and get this a little bit lower power if you don't want to burn as much power every single day. So that is how you mine Zano, guys. Thanks again to Hero Miners for sponsoring this video. And by all means, if you have any questions, let me know down below. I love helping you guys out, especially new miners who are mining new coins. So I'll see you next time. And as always, thank you for watching.